Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Lore Sports proudly brings to you the best racing podcast in the world. Now, here's your host, Lauren Leach, the color guy, Mark Allen, the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast, sponsored by the Corp Racing and Valley Gasket. Thank you, Tim, Ben, and Carrie, for all that you do for us and all of the communities that you help. It's unbelievable what you do. Mark, episode 186. How are you doing, man?
Hey, man, you all rested up from LaCrosse?
It took a little bit to get there, but yeah, I think we're all good. What a blast that was, huh?
What a weekend, man. You can't get no better than that.
That's right. Of course, we're talking about the 56th annual Oktoberfest race weekend, or as we know it as Fest, and Fest is best. It showed it once again.
Yeah, it sure did. The weather was perfect. The racing was awesome. All in all, just a great weekend, man.
It was absolutely a great fun, and
It
appreciate
goes
you.
too fast. Goes too fast. That's the only
It
problem.
does. Appreciate you pulling the camper up there like you do most years, and letting us have kind of an end of the year party. Although we're not done just yet, but it's kind of a big bash up there and a lot of fun.
Yep. So, yeah, the season ain't done yet, man. We always look when the season starts, we always say, pretty soon we're going to end up at Fest. And we did. And it came and went. And, yeah, there's a couple more races around here, just a little bit. And then, then we go through a long winter or else head south.
Yes, right. One or the other. Well, man, hey, I wanted to start this with talking about the Reddick family. Of course, we talked a little bit the last time about Tyler Reddick and Alexa Reddick and their son Rookie. So they came out with an important update on Sunday. They said that Rookie had a tumor, or has a tumor, excuse me, that's choking the renal vein and renal artery, which is telling the heart, hey, I'm not getting enough blood. Pump harder, which is causing an enlarged heart. He's going to need the entire kidney removed. That is not believed to be functioning any longer. He will undergo open heart surgery to remove, open surgery to remove his right kidney. They're just not sure when exactly yet. They're waiting for the okay right now to give his heart a break while he's on the blood pressure medication. They expect his heart to fully recover because it's just an innocent bystander. They have answers, but a journey ahead to bring their little one home. So they're happy, they're talking, they're blowing bubbles, playing, interacting with every nurse and doctor that comes in the room. And they just want to thank to everyone who's reached out that they see the kind words. So important update for the Reddick family there, and glad that they have answers and are kind of heading in the right direction here, although it has been a long road, and the road will continue for a little bit yet.
Yeah, he's about 2 or 3 years old, isn't he? 2? Is that right?
I want to say it's 3.
3?
Yeah.
That's not fair, man, to come into this world and end up like that. But you know what? Prayers will work, and hey, them kids are tough, man, and they go through a lot, man. So we'll see. Prayers will bring them through, man, for sure.
For sure. I also want to talk about the Hammer, Eric Hanefeld, who went under surgery, and we sure did miss him at Fest and his announcing and all that. But glad he was able to have successful triple bypass surgery and get some answers there, and he made his way home this week, so that was great news from there. So we were thinking about Hammer during his difficult times as well, so thankful to hear that he's on the road to recovery.
Yep, we did miss him, man. The voices were just a little bit different out at LaCrosse. Yes, definitely people were talking about it, man, for sure. So good news coming out of that with Eric there. Well wishes on a good recovery there.
Yep, for sure. So we're going to transition out of that. So hopefully some positive news for both of those families. We're going to have Jacob Goede on here. So that'll be exciting, talking to him about his NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series National Championship and his experience at LaCrosse Speedway and Oktoberfest. So that'll be fun to have him on, learn more about his story and all that. I know that he's been a very busy man. So And he had a great fest, which we'll talk about in a little bit there. But excited to have him on in just a little bit, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He had a wheel in his hand a whole bunch out there at LaCrosse.
He sure did. Before we bring him on, let's talk a little bit about some short track racing that happened before Oktoberfest here. The Impact Survival Series in Duro, which happened a few weeks ago. We forgot to talk about it on our last podcast here. That's the one where they went from WAR from laps 1 to 140 and then started at 141 Speedway on the dirt at lap 141. Phil Lale won that, followed by Frank Calabrese and Carter Stark.
I think what was amazing about that is only one participant didn't show up over at 141. So everybody packed their stuff up over at WIR and went over there and finished the race. That's quite a unique kind of thing. I don't think I've ever heard of a two race track in one day. That's a new one on me.
That's a new one on me too, and I hope they do it again because it sounded successful.
Yeah.
Speaking of 141, a couple of weeks ago, you and I made our way out there. They had the asphalt late model race out there. Brazen Bennett captured that. And then they also had super lates, the dirt super late models out there. Cole Zarniski won that one.
I'll tell you what, man, it got a little dirty out there. It was all right till we got out there, then the wind started coming in, and that brings back memories of me eating dirt down at Hale's Corners. That, for some reason, that place was the dustiest, dirtiest one, and we always had a south wind there, and so it was tradition there to check the flag before you came in, knowing if you were going to get it or not. But it was quite dusty, but man, them high-powered late models, man. For the late models themselves, I just love the sound of them. And hey, the Kakana guys came over to them asphalt cars, and they put on a heck of a show, man. Looked like the confidence was growing the more and more that they tried it out there. Should keep it as an annual event out there, man.
Oh, totally agree. Absolutely, 100%. Also, a week and a half ago, we went up to Marshfield Motor Speedway for the Chili Implement Fall Shootout. What a great event that was. Noah Ulrich won the 6-shooter feature, which we thought may be the race of the year, but there was some more great racing after that. But what an incredible race there in the 6-shooter feature.
115 cars out there, man, on 7 series on once again another beautiful day, and that was in the middle of the afternoon. We started that one, so man, we got home at a respectable hour, man. So Marshfield was quite popular, man, to be up there.
Love going up there, for sure. Kyle Jeanette won the Super Stock feature after Jason Stark and Bobby Terzinski spun coming to the checkered flag. Back-to-back awesome races there.
Yeah, they had some it looked like growing grass there, and them guys kind of tore it up before they got to the start-finish line. Made for an exciting finish. Yeah, a dirt car ended up pulling that one off, man.
Yeah, the 2 cars went onto the dirt where they do the tractor pulls there. That's why the dirt's on the front stretch there. So they do some neat stuff up there. Cameron Hill won the Midwest Dash feature. Austin Ruck won the Bandit feature. Carl Jeanette dominated the Legends feature. He was good all day long, making it 3 wide and pulling out some moves there. Jason Stark and Sean Herzog won the Vintage features out there. And then it was John Beal winning the Chili Implement Fall Shootout Super Late Model race.
Yeah, that was a really good race, man. Mark Eswine kept him honest. He kept him honest through that race. He was fast time and was wondering if he was going to have something for him. And hey, man, I kind of found myself up in the spotters stand, and I was just like a little church mouse sitting up there, And when they all came up there, and I got to hang out with Dalton Zier, and and watching John Beal win. It was a pretty good experience to be hanging out close to them guys, and yeah, congratulations, man. Johnny Beal sure knows how to get around Marshfield.
He does, and you're right about Mark Eswine. Fast time, like you said, looked like he was good on the long run, but I tell you what, John Beal was right there as well on the long run, and it ended up on a little shorter of a run where John just pulled away there. So definitely a well-deserving win for the 5 team. Also, let's talk about Marshfield for a little bit, though, because that is an awesome facility. I love going up there for the fall shootout. I love getting any chance to go up there. I know you do too, Mark. I got to thank Brandon Eschenbrenner for having us up there. Also, the DeBoer and Breivik families as well. The DeBoer family owns the facility, and then Wayne Brevik runs it. And it's just always a pleasure to go up there. We ran into so many great fans. It was an honor to call that for, I think it's my 3rd year up there. So just an awesome facility, awesome event up there at Marshfield.
Yeah, we love going up there, man. Yeah, so and yeah, you did an awesome job announcing up there, man. Really good. People sure appreciated it, man. It was well noticed, and so yeah, all in all, it was a fun day, man. Love being up there.
It was an awesome day, yeah, and I appreciate the kind words from everyone, and it was pretty cool. Someone caught me after and had some nice things to say, so that was pretty cool. Going on then, also after winning the Glass City 200 in Toledo 2 weeks ago, Dawson Sutton won the Southern Super Series race in Pensacola on Blizzard Series Championship weekend. Cole Butcher was named the Blizzard Series champion.
Yeah, we've seen Dawson Sutton when he won down at Milwaukee, and he's dabbling in the trucks trying to get the NASCAR, so no surprise there at all, man.
No. Landon Pembleton won the 300-lap race at Martinsville, barely over Lee Pulliam. An awesome finish there. Ty Majeski was in the race. He would finish 6th with damage. He had trouble shifting on that last restart there while he was running 4th. Hopefully, Lee Pulliam finds a way to race more. An absolute legend in the sport. He's stepped back the last few years. I think this was probably his 3rd race in 5 years, and he's that competitive at a big race like that. It would be nice to see him with a wheel behind his hands a few more times.
And just think, Majeski just got 300 laps at Martinsville, man. And you know what? There's a race coming up there in the trucks for Martinsville, and pretty good idea to get some experience on that paper clip of a half mile down there.
That's right. Yep. He said that was one of the reasons to run it. He just, Ty just loves racing. So anytime he can race, he'll do it. Him and Chad Bryant got together for that race there. So that was pretty cool. Sounds like they might try to do it a little more because the late model stocks provide a little bit different challenge than the super lates that Ty has been running for years.
Yeah. So can't take that experience away, man. It's got to count for something.
That's right. Yep. All right, man. Well, I think that's a good way or a good time to stop here and go to the hotline and bring Jacob Goede on.
Hey, we're going to the hotline. Let's do it, man.
Let's do it. All right, Jacob. Thanks for joining us, man. You've had a pretty exciting couple of weeks here. Just won your 2nd NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series National Championship. What a race with you and Tim Anderson, by the way. How are you doing, and how was that race behind the wheel over at Elko?
Yeah, that was pretty exciting. A heck of a battle there. The finish wasn't exactly ideal. I mean, not the win, but would have been nice there. But anyway, we survived it. The car was pretty tore up. It had a week long of work, but good battle. Glad to come home with the win. Pretty dramatic fashion to win the national championship that way. But I guess it makes a heck of a story.
Hey, man, tell me about Elko, man. I've never been up there. That's one hell of a bull ring to get around that place, ain't it?
It's a super nice track. Two really good grooves. Actually, the whole facility is second to none. Honestly. And yeah, two good grooves. It makes it really tough to pass at times because the outside you really can carry your momentum. The bottom's shorter around, but you kind of need to get it all the way up to the wall to make good lap times. So it can be a challenge to pass just because the two grooves are so equal. So it makes it, it can be frustrating at times to race on, but you can't ask for much more as a racer to have two good grooves.
It reminds me a lot of the Dells. I was there back a few years back. It reminds me of the Dells, but it's different at the same time, correct?
Yeah, definitely different. I mean, that's what everyone says. If you're coming to the Dells, just put your Elko stuff in, and it should be the same, or vice versa. And I don't think so. I mean, Elko's a lot more round, a lot smoother. Elko just feels way bigger too, even though it's not that much bigger. I mean, gear wise, it's within a tenth of a point. But for some reason, I mean, Elko just feels way bigger, way more roomy. Things are just spread out. And I guess the biggest thing is it's just more round. It seems like it's a little harder on tires that way. I think the right rear never gets a break, but yeah, super awesome place to race at.
Yeah, I gotta get back up there. That's for sure. Hey, you were also just over at Oktoberfest. You ended up running 7 features. We're gonna run 8, which really was 10 because the Trickle 99 is 3 in itself. But you got 7 in there. You ran 5 in the late models there. You finished second in both races on Thursday. Then come Friday where you finished 5th and then won the last one. Let's stop there for a second and talk about the 4 LaCrosse late model races there because you had one heck of a showing up there.
Yeah. I mean, it couldn't have went much better. There one year I won 3 of the 4, but no, the competition's tough. And when you're racing there full time and got some wins throughout this year, I had extra weight on my car. I had a little bit of left side percentage off. So not as much as Skylar though. Skylar was at the biggest disadvantage. But no, it started off Thursday really well with setting fast time and qualifying. That first feature finished second to Skylar. And Adam had that misfortune of that huge wreck. Kind of a bummer deal. Would have been fun to race it out. But that's not the way it went this year. Anyway, the deal with Skylar, he kind of had to win. He was behind. I was, ahead in points, so he kind of needed to make up ground. Even though with him winning, he had to take another 0.5% of left side off after that. So, that was, there's some strategy that goes into that. I was perfectly content finishing second, so I didn't have to add weight and take left side off and let him win. He gained points there, but the hope was to gain some back the next feature, and that's what we did. I finished second, he finished 4th, and then Friday, do it all over again. He finished 4th, I finished 5th, right on his bumper. That was kind of the goal, is just stick right with him. He can't gain that much that way. And then let's get to the last feature, and then we were safe to win. So we went all out and tried to win the race, and worked out, won the race, won the championship. Pretty cool deal. Really happy to win a LaCrosse Fairgrounds Speedway late model championship. Super close last year. And I don't know. I felt like I needed to prove it to myself. If anything, people have said you don't need to prove nothing to anybody. You've won enough and whatever. But I feel like I had to win that LaCrosse championship before whatever. I don't want to say hanging it up, but maybe not going down there every week next year or something. It's tough. It's tough to drive by Elko and drive another 2.5 hours to get to LaCrosse every Saturday night. It's tough with the family and all that stuff. So we'll see what next year brings. But no, super proud to win that championship. Those guys made it tough, and it's a good field of cars down there. We had almost 20 cars every night. So to win a championship there against that competition feels pretty good.
Hey, that weight rule, we kind of picked that up when we heard about that over the weekend. How does that work, man? Like, if you win, what do? You got to add 25 pounds? And how does that work out there, man?
Yeah, so every time you win, you add 20 pounds. And then after 3 features after that win, you get to take half of it off. And then half of it remains for the rest of the year. And then after you win your 3rd feature, you have to not only add the 20 pounds, but also take 0.5% of left side percentage away, or add 0.5% to the right, however you want to look at it, up to a maximum of, you get down to 44% right if you kept winning. But so it's 0.5% per win after that third feature win. But like I said, you only carry half of that 20 pounds, if you will, for the remainder of the year. But going into Fest, I was 40 pounds heavy. Because I won 3. I had half of the first 2 wins off, but I was still carrying the full 20 for my 3rd feature win. and I was, like I said, I was down 0.5%. Where Skyler, he won 4 throughout the season, so I don't even know what his total was. I can't remember, the time frame of his wins. I just know that he was down to 57-0 on left side going into Oktoberfest, and that's where I was last year, and that. I mean, you wouldn't think that little bit matters, but it does. I mean, once you 57.5 maybe doesn't hurt you really that much, but 57.0, you definitely start noticing it. So, like I said, when Skyler was winning that first feature, I'm like, have at her, dude. You take another 0.5% off, and he was in the position where he needed to win. He needed to make up ground on me. So I was in a pretty good spot there to just try and stick on his bumper, and if I could just finish near him every race pretty much. And then plus I knew that the next feature was lined up with an invert off of that first feature. So I was going to be starting in front of him. So it's like, you know what, have at her, go win that thing, take another 0.5% off. I'll start in front of you next one and hopefully be able to gain those points back. So, it's nice when a plan all works together or comes together like that. It doesn't always happen, but it ended up working out.
Hey, I appreciate you explaining that rule there, because a lot of people were trying to tell us it, and it was just like, okay, we need to ask someone who's experienced it a little bit.
Yeah.
I was surprised though that it's your first LaCrosse Late Model Championship. Lost last year by only 2 points. I know that's a little sour subject probably, but you came back this year, headed into the weekend only up 1 on Adam Benzik there. Tough competition at LaCrosse every week. Talk about some of the challenges that you faced this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, honestly, we were. I felt like last year, 2024, I had a way better season. I felt like I had kind of. I don't want to say the dominant car, but I mean, we won 4 or 5 races going into Oktoberfest, and we were really good. It's just I made some mistakes the year before. I ended up getting myself turned around twice, and it is my fault. Trying too hard, to fill holes and stuff like that, or fill a hole that maybe wasn't there. And anyway, so I felt like I kind of lost the championship myself last year. It shouldn't have been that close. I was 30 some points ahead at one point, and then kind of, gave it away. But anyway, this year, like we were good, but not stellar all the time. I was consistent, finishing in the top 5, third, fourth, fifth, win here or there, but never could just like put it together and just dominate. And Skyler had the best season overall. It's just he had a couple bad nights, where me and Adam didn't have that this year until the very end, or with Adam. But Skyler honestly had the best season. Like he had the most wins. If it wasn't for his 2 DNFs, he would have had a pretty good point lead. And but that's the way racing goes sometimes, like we were consistently right there and just kept our heads down, kept fighting for everything. And came into Oktoberfest, I wrecked my car too. And so I had the one bad night in early August. I wrecked with the point lead and dropped 17. I was 17 back going into the last regular night of the season. And I kind of thought my season was over at that point. It's like, yeah, well, I'm not a quitter. I'm going to go back. But, hey, we scratched and clawed for single point gain between Adam and Skyler all season long. And now I just dropped, whatever. I dropped like 27 points in one night. I'm like, how are we going to make that up? And yeah, we came back that next week, and I set fast time in qualifying, and I think I won the first feature and finished second in the second feature. So ended up going from 16 or 17 back to +1 all in one night. And those guys ran good that last night too. Like they both had 2 top 5s. It's just we ran really good, and that was kind of the difference maker. Gave us some confidence going into Oktoberfest. Like I did that with my second car, my backup, if you will, and which turned into the primary after, because the other one still isn't fixed. And so yeah, we still had to work at it for Oktoberfest, but it ended up working out really well.
Hey, you also won the Big 8 feature on Saturday, which was a huge race there every year. Talk about that race and capturing that one again.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I I didn't feel that confident going into that race. I'll be honest. I had a built motor in for the first time ever for the weekend, and I knew on those D800s, like, man, you want as little weight on those tires as you can get on that racetrack, especially. And there's so many tire problems down there on that D800. It's just unreal. But anyway, I didn't think I thought we were okay, but I didn't think the built motor was going to be the thing to have in the race. And I knew I just had to be smart with it. And we made a shock change right before the race. I shouldn't say like we always do, but I always can never make up my mind. And it seems like they're calling us to line up. And that's when I decided to make a change. And anyway, we changed right front shock and spring, and something I had never raced before. I tested it on Friday or something, but I don't know. I stuck with what I knew, but I'm like, Saturday, it's like, whatever. It's not, I want to win, but it's not what really matters. So let's try this other thing and get a head start on next year. And I think it was the difference maker. The car reacted pretty well, and then it was just saving tires or trying to save but fill holes. You couldn't necessarily wait or go slow, but my biggest thing, I was trying to follow Sargent. He was kind of going through the field. I was letting him bust the holes, and I was just trying to fill the gaps. And then once we got into whatever it was, third, I was like, all right, well, I want to be close to him if he makes a mistake, and but still try and keep the rear tires on it. And he got loose coming out of two, and I pounced on him. And and then the caution came out a few laps later, and had to restart and was able to get by Chris and set sail. I mean, Bachman was really good in that race, and he had a crate motor. And I actually told him before the race, I asked him how his right rear tire looked, and he said it looked perfect. And I asked him if I could look at it, and and he said sure. And after I looked at his tire, I'm like, you're going to win this race. I mean, he didn't have any chicken pocket going on his right rear, and I already had some after my heat race going half speed. And I'm like, man, it's going to be a tough 48 laps, but we had just enough to hang on. And yeah, pretty cool to win that race. I think that's a fifth Big 8 race I've won down there alone. So it's been a 2 years of getting beat, but finishing right there. I've finished second and third the last 2 years, and now to be back in victory lane was pretty cool.
Hey man, is that a Junior Hanley paint job that you're running right there?
Yeah, kind of. After I won the national championship in 2019, and I had the bright idea to have a backup car or whatever, and I found this left-hander that had a brand new red body on it. I'm like, red isn't necessarily my color on a race car, but it was brand new. It still had the plastic on it. I mean, it was too nice to not use. And I'm like, what can I do with this? So I went on, I started Googling stuff. I'm like, Junior Hanley, like, duh. And he's even number 72, like, perfect. So I found the ugliest numbers I could find, and, kind of made it look retro, kind of like what his cars were in the 80s. And, tried to make the best of it. Now the thing's due for a reskin kit and stuff. So, I don't think it'll be red anymore. I think I'm going to make it orange and white, traditional Goede colors.
Hey, I want to talk about two things at Fest here before we continue on and learn more about your story, where it started and all that. First was, we kind of talked about it earlier, was that incident with Benzik that happened right in front of you. As soon as that incident started happening, for whatever reason, I looked for your car. We were over in turn one. I looked for your car, found you, and you had to drive through some smoke and some uncertainty there. What was it like being behind the wheel during that one in turn one?
Yeah, I felt like it was easy to miss for myself. Like I was in the bottom groove. I was watching the 5, and I couldn't tell who the 5 was bouncing off there or who got together. But anyway, it was between the 63 and the 48 on the outside and the 5 car on the bottom. And I seen them kind of ricocheting off each other, and I seen Tom kind of sliding once to the right. I'm like, that thing's going to hook and come back to the left. So I started blowing up already as soon as I seen them kind of starting bouncing off each other. And I seen them then spin to the inside, and I'm like, wow, he's going to go up the track. His momentum was going to carry up. So I just kept blowing up and just turned left and whatever. Like I felt like it was an easy miss, but then my buddy Brian, who was following right on me, he didn't happen to see any of this stuff, and he kind of drilled me in the door, and I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why didn't you slow down? But anyway, yeah, like Adam was just in the outside lane, and it looked like maybe there's some time to slow down, but that stuff's happening so fast. And if you can't, like, I had a perfect front row seat to it. Like, I was right behind Skylar, and Skylar was behind the 5 car. And I just happened to see, I was looking, a few cars ahead. I just happened to see stuff start happening. I'm like, better give some room here and be prepared. And luckily I made the right decision, whatever. So a lot of times it's luck, what, if you choose to zig right or zig left or whatever. And I made the right decision and escaped that one.
The last thing I want to talk about Oktoberfest before transitioning, like I said, was it's kind of two-parted. You got to team up with Chase Motorsports a little this year, including for a race at Oktoberfest. Unfortunately, kind of the motor went sour there in the Knights race, so you had to bring your own car up there. So first part is, what's it like teaming up with a team like Chase Motorsports? And then when it went into that decision to still bring your car out to race the rest, or actually the 200 at Oktoberfest?
Yeah, Chase guys, Dennis and Julie are awesome to work with. They got good equipment, and Dennis works really hard. The rest of the crew works hard, and super bummer, to have a motor break. Not that the motor broke. A rocker arm is what broke. It's just part failure. Pretty cool deal to run with them this year. I think we did the icebreaker, Madison, and then the 250 at Kakana. And then we're, intended to run the full weekend at LaCrosse. It was fun. Hopefully, no plans set in stone for next year, but hopefully that door is still open. They got good equipment, like I said, and I know the financial burden it is to run a super late, and it's tough for me to do when I'm running my weekly stuff. And so to be able to have an opportunity to drive a quality super late is pretty cool. Like I said, really got to thank them and their sponsors for allowing me to do that. But we'll see what next year brings. But the decision to get mine is like, I'm goofy. I'm a racer. I sat out the 200 last year because last year I broke rear end qualifying for the trickle race in my own car. And, I love to race at LaCrosse. I love to race, and I finished second with my car at Thunderstruck just a couple weeks ago or whatever. So I thought, well, I was kind of excited to get my car out again. And after it had a good performance, and now I'm kind of bummed that I even messed around with it. It wasn't that good on Sunday, and pretty disappointed with that. But it just goes to show how tough supers are in general. You got to be in them all the time, and you got to stick up with or stay up on the trends that's going on, and all the way down to the tires. Magically there was a different left side mold tire at LaCrosse that was the first time anybody's seen this stuff. And maybe I didn't have the right left side tire on. So just little things like that. If you're not there all the time, you don't know what to look for. And anyway, but the decision to get mine is just, I'm a goofy racer and like to race, and wanted to run.
So you pull yours out there. Let's go back to the beginning here. I know you guys are you've raced snowmobiles, your family comes from that style of racing. Where does it begin for you? When did you become a race fan? When did you decide to race? Tell us a little bit about your family history and the beginning for you.
Sure. So it all started with my dad. He was a first generation racer. He started with motorcycles and demolition derbies, bought a car to go figure eight racing, and then they dropped the figure eights at Arlington Raceway where he was going to race, and so he decided to go street stock is what they called it back then. And and it grew from there. He started building his own cars, he was building his own motors. So he was doing that when I was, I think his first year was 85 or 86. I was born in 84. his last year was 1990. But anyway, we go watch him on Saturdays, and I remember, after the features were over, we'd walk the track. It was dirt, and find good used tear-offs that he could wash and reuse. I mean, he was cheap, and like I said, I mean, he built all his own stuff. So he did that till 1990. He won the championship out there, and they made some rule changes and whatnot. He decided to quit, and got us started in quarter midget, or me started in quarter midgets at Elko on asphalt. And that is where my racing career began in 1992. I was 7 years old, and my brother Matt started in 93. And Alex, he was born in 92. He started, I don't know, whenever he could start, 97-ish probably. But anyway, I raced quarter midgets till I was 15. Won, I think, 7 or 8 quarter midget championships at Elko. And my dad bought a late model from my future father-in-law, it turns out now. But anyway, bought a late model and spent all of 2001 practicing. Go out on Thursdays. They had, pay to practice or whatever. It was cheap back then. And we went down pretty much every Thursday, and I just turned laps. So, I mean, that was our first time ever working on a big, asphalt stock car. So we're trying to learn the car. I'm trying to learn how to drive and all this stuff. So we took it very slow. I raced, I think, one time at the end of 2001, and 2002 was my rookie season at Elko. I didn't even finish rookie of the year. I think I was third in that battle. I didn't win a race until 2005, a feature out there until 2005. So basically 4 years in, or 3.5 years in. And once we got to 2005, I mean, we were getting pretty competitive. I think I won 3 or 4 features that year, finished second or third in points. Finished second or third in points in 05, 06, 07. And then we picked up a pretty good sponsor, turned into a car owner, Lake Town Electric, that allowed us to travel. We did the ASA Late Model Challenge Series, and that brought me all over the country. I got to thank them, Dave and his wife, Christine Bergman, a lot for that. But I was able to race at Bristol. I mean, I won at Bristol Motor Speedway in 2007. I won Newton, Iowa in 2007, Iowa Speedway. 2008, we finished second in the Challenge Series points. Just about won the championship. Should have won the championship. Still kick myself for that one. And then we did Midwest Tour from 2009 until 2012, I want to say. Finished second in points in 11. Or mid 2012, I wrecked at Milwaukee and took the rest of the summer off, and drove for Mike Butts in 2013 in Midwest Tour. Finished 4th in points, I think, and then 2014 is when I came back to Elko. Me and my wife got married in 2011.
Get that right.
Yeah, had to be careful there. But yeah, we got married in 2011. Anyway, we had our first daughter in 2012, and it was just getting to be too much to travel. So 2014 came back to running Elko full time, won my first championship, went on to win 10 in a row at Elko there. Let's see, the first 3 were super lates, 14, 15, 16, and then they dropped supers and went back to the limited later big 8 style cars. So I won the remaining 7 in that. And after 10, we kind of decided that's a good even number to pull a pin. And that's when we went to LaCrosse last year and finished second. Now we picked up our 11th championship last year. So.
Hey, man, the Goede name is really known up in Eagle River. You got any part to do with that, or is that all Matt doing that stuff up there?
Well, I mean, I'm a 2-time vintage world champion. So we started on vintage sleds. I was the one who started racing first. I raced for 3, 4, 5 years before Matt started. So I had a lot of success in the vintage stuff. And then Matt came along, and I mean, he was always in better shape. He worked construction. That was the biggest thing. He could hang on better than I could. And anyway, he ended up progressing through the vintage and ended up getting full on modern, the, you know, whatever you want to call it, the NASCAR of snowmobile racing, in the Pro Champ class and now the F3 class. So yeah, he's kind of taken it, you know, way further than I ever did. That's for sure. And his name will go down in history. I feel as one of the best in the ice oval world. 2-time modern world champion. I either 4 or 5-time vintage world champion now. But yeah, he's definitely cemented his name in the history books.
Man, I wanted to learn more about that snowmobile stuff because that's something I haven't seen yet, and I heard you got to go to Eagle River. So,
Yeah.
can you kind of dive into that a little further? What's that like? Maybe other places that they race as well.
Yeah, Eagle River is the Daytona 500 of ice oval racing. I mean, it honestly it is. It happens early in the season, similar to the Daytona 500. It's early January. Is the Vintage World Championships, so it's its own separate weekend. There's I'm going to say a million different classes. There isn't that many, but there's a boatload of different vintage classes, from engine size, year ranges, cooling ranges, you know, fan, liquid, free air, all the way up to the modern snow pros, or whatever, the 80s style snow pros where they had independent suspension and kind of look like champ sleds and stuff. And then the following weekend is modern world championship weekend. And that's the Mac Daddy, that everyone wants to win. If you're an sprint ice oval guy or driver, that's the race you want to win. And it generally starts on Thursday, I think, Friday, and goes. The championship race is always at 3:00 on Sunday afternoon. And the last few years, it's been 25 laps, 25 or 30, I can't remember, but 25 laps, I think. And on these F3 machines, a stock-based snowcross type sled that's lower down and whatnot. But yeah, Matt's won 2 of those on those sleds, and I mean, he's won a boatload of champ races too. But Eagle River is the one to go to. Wausau's got a pretty big event typically. Ironwood has in the past. I think they're trying to get something going again, but I don't exactly know the details. But Wyowega, Wisconsin's having one. I don't even know the full schedule right now, but definitely Eagle River is the big one.
How did you get started in doing some of that ice and the snowmobile stuff?
Well, that's interesting. My uncle owned a salvage yard, Goose Lake Auto Parts, and started getting into him and my dad started getting into collecting old Polaris's and whatnot, and they ended up buying, you know, a vintage Starfire, 73 Starfire, and had a 340 motor in it. And my dad had another 73 that had a 800 in it. And they thought, well, shit, this looks like a good idea, or it could be fun. And originally we're going to put a 340 together, and we're like, forget that. Let's just put the 800 in this other chassis. And so anyway, that's what I started on, was a 73 Starfire with an 800 in it, and ran the Pro 800 class and whatnot. And that's kind of how that went. And it gradually grew from there. We went from running one sled for the first 3 years or so to I built a 340 Starfire, and we still are a 650, and then Matt built a 440 Starfire, and me and Matt both drove for another gentleman, a 78 RXL, and he drove a 77 Leaf Spring RXL 250. And anyway, so we went from one sled to 5 sleds, or 6 at one point, I think. And Matt got hurt really bad. That's when he quit racing. He got hurt in 2016, right around New Year's, 2016, 2017, up in Ironwood, Michigan. Horrific wreck. Spent a month in the hospital in Wausau, and broke all kinds of bones. And anyway, really bad deal. And that's when he quit car racing, was after that. And I thought we were going to be done snowmobile racing too. I still had my sled, and I raced it, I think, one more year or something, and then I sold it. I'm like, all right, I'm done. And then he came back, and he got back on a sled, and I ended up driving for another guy. And his first race back, I think it took him a year and a half to get back on a snowmobile. It was Eagle River. He crashed again and spent another couple weeks in the hospital in Wausau, same dang hospital. And my wife was like, my wife announced my retirement that weekend for me. So I finished out the weekend, and then I haven't rode since. So that was 2019, I believe. Winter of 2019 was the last time I rode. And yeah, every once in a while I get the itch, but the stock cars are a lot safer with full roll cage and belted in and Hans devices and all that stuff. When you're on a snowmobile, you're hanging out in the breeze, and those ice picks are sharp and carbides are sharp. I mean, we sharpen that stuff every race. So them carbides are razor sharp. You can pretty much shave with them if you wanted to, and they'll do some damage if you get run over. And ice is hard, and the machines. Yeah. Anyway, it's a dangerous deal. So I'm perfectly fine sitting in the seat and turning a steering wheel these days.
Yeah. I was going to ask about Matt and how he's doing. Has he gotten on a sled since that second incident after he came back?
Oh yeah. Yep. So he got picked. So I think he still raced potentially. I don't know if he raced at the very end of that year or maybe if it was the next year. But anyway, he got hooked up with a champ team, and so he got hurt racing professional stuff the first time. The second time was on his vintage sled, and then he got hooked up with his Dale Loritz Racing out of Kakana area, actually, Green Bay area, and he's been racing ever since. So I think about 2020 was when he got hooked up with them guys, and he's been racing full time with them ever since. That's the team he's won the 2 world championships with, the modern world championships. And so he runs his modern stuff with those guys for factory skidoo. And then he's got a Polaris that we just go to Eagle River for the vintage world championship that we run, that he runs his own sled for that or whatever.
I also want to, something that you said a little bit ago, I wanted to ask you about. You said you hooked up with Mike Butts there. How did that deal come together? Obviously, we're familiar with him being in the Kakana area. So talk about how that deal came together.
Yeah, sure. So I wrecked my car at Milwaukee, and, I'm like, yeah, can't afford to fix it. I just couldn't do it mid-season. And I put out a social media post. I'm like, hey, if anybody needs a driver or whatever, I'm available, essentially. And Mike actually reached out, and we did a race at Marshfield. It was supposed to be a tour race at Marshfield. I shouldn't say supposed to. It was a Midwest Tour race at Marshfield in 2012. I don't know, the July, August time frame. And of course, we were running decent, but like 10 laps in, oil pump belt came off, and so that was the end of that. And anyway, over the winter we chatted a little bit and came up with a deal, and we worked it out. And so I ended up driving for them in 2013. We did the full Midwest tour, and it was a fun time. Learned a lot. It's a lot different driving for somebody else, and that was my first experience doing that, where I didn't work on the cars and do all the stuff. I just showed up with my helmet, and that took some getting used to, but we had some good runs. Like I said, finished 4th in points in the tour, nothing to shake your head at. And it was a fun time. Still friends with them guys today, so that was cool.
They're a good group, man. We like hanging out with them also.
Yeah.
Hey, man, what's the rest of your schedule look like? Are you done for the year?
Yeah, I'm done for the year now. This was this was a long season. I'll be honest. I did start. Let's see. I told everyone that I didn't start till May, but that was a lie. Like I'd never been to so this NASCAR stuff, it takes planning. And I never been to the Dells with a limited late before. So going into this year, I'm like, well, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it. And they had their open test day, whatever, the last weekend in April. So I went there, tested my limited for the first time, and then came back and raced that next Saturday, early May, and then went down to Madison for the Joe Shear on Sunday and ran the 47. And then I haven't had a Saturday off since late April. I've been at a racetrack every Saturday. So I'm looking forward to taking a little bit of a break. Because we also race quarter midgets with my daughters. I got 3 daughters. And we do that on Sundays. So, my my weekends were always lacking sleep. We get home 2-3 in the morning from either LaCrosse or the Dells and sleep for 3-4 hours, and we're back at the racetrack with the girls at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I use the same trailer, so it's unload all that crap or my crap, load up all their crap, and anyway, so it got to be long, and so we're not quite. I'm done, but we're gonna go. We're leaving next Thursday, early morning, to go down to Topeka, Kansas. There's a national, what is it? NASCAR Youth National race down there. So we're going to try that out. We did a national race last year once, but this year the schedules didn't work with me being so serious with the NASCAR, whatever, my weekly series points, that we couldn't get away. But this works well. We've been to Topeka before, so we're going to do that next weekend. And then we can take a break. Looking forward to that. But breaks don't last long before you're back. You got to be in the shop. I'm a small team or whatever, pretty much myself. So rebuild time, maintenance time, all that fun stuff. Can't wait too long or season sneaks up on you. So.
Yeah, and with the technology in these cars, it just gets there is no off season anymore. Is basically how I say it.
Right.
I got 2 things left for you, buddy. Here, we appreciate your time. One is, what's that like racing with your daughters? I mean, that's got to be a blast. Probably just as fun or more fun than driving yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Watching them learn, watching them grow, watching them try and figure it out. At the same time, some days it can be so frustrating, like you talk about things and, you just wish you could just dump your brain into theirs and have them just have it, or do the things that I've been telling them or whatever. Just, I've been around racing for so long. It's the only thing I really think I know. And I think I can really help someone, and I'm trying to help them. And it's awesome. Reese won her first championship this year. Pretty cool deal. One of the toughest classes at our track. She ended up winning that and tied for second in her other class. So yeah, it's been a blast. They're having fun for the most part. And yeah, I don't know where it's going to go. Going to enjoy quarter midgets, is probably as long as we can. And then, it's going to be kind of up to them if they want to take it past that. I got late models sitting here, so if that's something they want to do, and but they have to be serious about it. Like, I can't be the only one doing all the work and stuff like that. There isn't enough hours in the day, and if that's the way I was taught. And if you want to do it, you got to work at it, and so that's how it's going to be. And so yeah, we'll see where it takes us. But right now, we're going to enjoy the ride.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Having kids myself and seeing them venture into sports. Mine are a little younger. Just getting into the sports scene is incredible to watch. Hey, the last thing I got for you is, you talked about working on your own stuff and being a small team and all that. I just wanted to say that what you're doing, we appreciate as fans and media members because, we'll walk over to you after. I remember, I think it was last year, maybe it was 2 or 3 years ago. You had just one race and they were making you pull out your transmission or doing something in the rear end there. And you were the guy after you just ran all those races or that hard race, you were pulling out all the bolts, doing all the work. And we didn't want to bother you. So we came back, but you're the guy who does all that. And I feel like there is a lot more guys than you probably would think that are working on their own stuff. But I think that gets missed a lot. And I just wanted to say that we appreciate seeing you do that and your hard work doesn't go unnoticed.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's the way I was raised, and it's hard to find. First of all, it's hard to find good help, or I don't mean good help, but I mean it's tough to find people that are willing to dedicate that much time, and it's getting tougher every year. I mean, I got two brothers, younger brothers, but now they're married and have kids, and it's just getting harder. And I've been fortunate enough to have good help over the years, but no, I'm very hands on, and that's the only way. That's the only way I want it to be, honestly. Like, I love doing it that way. I love working on these things. Yeah, so I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, it's certainly noticed there. But hey, man, we appreciate you coming on. We kept you probably longer than we thought we would, but your story is incredible. And talking about your racing, I'm sure we could go on for a long time. So we look forward to having you on again. We appreciate you, man. Congratulations on the championships this year. Well deserved. And can't wait to talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks a ton for having me. And yeah, hopefully we can catch up again in the future.
Hey, man, good luck down in Topeka, man, and then enjoy the off season, huh?
All right. Yeah, thanks. I'm going to go hibernate here pretty quick.
All right.
What a story Jacob Goede has, huh? We could talk with him for hours about his story, all the racing, his scene. It was great for us to learn about his story too. I didn't realize that he started as young as he did, and that he's been racing late models since, he said, 2001. He ran a little bit after he purchased it. So I guess I didn't realize he's been doing that long. Also, when you say 2001, it almost seems like yesterday, but that's 24 years ago, man.
He mentioned that he wrecked at the Midwest Tour in Milwaukee. Hey, that was that Milwaukee race. Remember that, when there was like 10 cars were going down the front stretch, and I think they only had like two wreckers, not even a flatbed, and it just took a long time to clean that up. I kind of add that up thinking that probably was the incident that happened down there in Milwaukee. But wow, man, you can just you can sense the passion out of him and his family. Yeah, racing definitely in their blood, man.
And that's the thing I wanted to get at with him working on his own stuff and pulling those bolts. You remember, Mark, we walked up to him, wanted to talk to him for a second. He said, I'll be right back. Gave him the time he needed, but he was the one working on his stuff. And like I said, I think there's a lot more people and drivers doing that than people maybe realize, but not all the time. And I think that should be commended. So anytime we see stuff like that, we want to point that out. But yeah, I mean, it was cool to hear about the snowmobile stuff. That's quite the story. At some point, you and I got to make it up to Eagle River and go see that deal. That's for sure. That's definitely on the list now. But it was cool to hear. I forgot he teamed up with Mike Butts. It was cool to hear that his daughters are racing now. Man, just a great story, and he's been winning a lot of races throughout the years, and I don't want to say he's underappreciated, but I still feel like when he shows up, I still feel like and maybe I should ask him this, maybe does he feel like an underdog? Because I feel like he shouldn't be, and to us he's not, but I just feel like when people talk about the Joe Shear Classic earlier this year and all that, I don't know that Jacob's name comes to the forefront when it really should.
Yeah, it probably does. He travels a lot. He's up in Minnesota, and he's always coming down this direction and everything like that. Hey, talking about that Eagle River, man, even though not just to be at the facility, but hey, they got a museum there, and me and my wife said, hey, let's check this out and go in there, dude. And they have some classic snowmobiles that's in there, and some. It's worth the stop. It's all free, and you just go in there and you can look at all them snowmobiles, and there's trophies and memorabilia. And yeah, Matt Goede, I seen a picture of that there, and yeah, I remember that that he had that bad accident his brother Matt did.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was a pretty tough one. Didn't know if he was going to pull through in that one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the Goede name is definitely known. We definitely know it, especially LaCrosse, man. And yeah, we see him in Madison. Good to see him at Kakana. Got a 7th over there at the Gandrews, So yeah, we definitely pay attention to what he does, man.
He is one heck of a driver. One that, when he shows up, I definitely pay attention to. So cool to see him get his second NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series National Championship. Cool to see him get his first lacrosse late model championship, which is amazing. He didn't win that last year or in the years past when he raced there. But yeah, and we won all those championships at Elko. Really, really dominated over there. So yeah, what a cool guy, cool family. Always appreciate seeing them. So we were so lucky to have him on. Let's talk more about Fest here, Mark, as quick as we can here. What an awesome event over at LaCrosse, Midwest Tour, all the divisions over there. Thursday, we had the 6-shooters, which was won by Andy Moore. The Hornets was won by Christopher Lofquist. The Sportsman was won by Taylor Goldman. The Futures was won by Grant Griesbach. Man, he continues his season into the fall. Unbelievable. The Knights Tom Refner race was won by Casey Johnson. The first late model race was won by Skylar Holshausen. The second late model race was won by Steve Bachman. And the Double O was won by Mike Krieger Jr. He went back-to-back in that thing.
Yeah, we went right over to the start-finish line to make sure that we could get ourselves a front row seat, man. And wow, man, you got to keep an eye on everything and keep your head on a swivel, man. That's an amazing race on a Thursday night.
Yeah, it is. And they had an incident out of turn 4, which is not a place that you would expect them to have an incident. Of course, anywhere is possible. Usually you expect front stretch or something like that when they're coming from the big track to the little track. But cool race. If you have never seen the Double O, go and check that out. Fast forwarding to Friday, then the Sportsman race was won by Chris Webber. Dominated, I should say. The third late model race was won by Nick Clements. And of course, you just heard from him. He won the 4th and final race and was named the champion. That was Jacob Goede. The Trickle 99 was won by Andrew Morrissey.
Yeah, we definitely could see how Andrew Morrissey was gonna look. Yeah, hey, that was 22 laps for the Refner, make the Refner 88. So there was 4 22-lap races, quite unique, and it was definitely entertaining. Good show on Friday night.
Mm-hmm. Saturday, then, the Midwest Dash Series was won by Carter Stark. He and Anna Price had a great battle. And as I'm talking about that, I want to go back to the Trickle 99. I wanted to point this out. One of the most impressive things that I saw on Friday was Penn Sauter battle and try to stay in second. I think he ended up finishing 4th or 5th in that race. But his battle and using the outside groove to gain positions and try to stay there, he had a heck of a battle on his hands. And I think we kind of saw him mature before our eyes just over this weekend.
And that's a tough thing to do, man. To do a power move on the outside. Boy, once when you see them cars in that second groove, you notice how tight they are to the inside car. You have to be, because that's where the groove is. So, these guys are just right even with each other, and they never touch each other. It's amazing what they do there.
Yeah. Going back to Saturday, though, Mid-Am Series race, Kevin Murphy took that one. Scotty Gardner is the champion. Kyle Brick is the Rookie of the Year. And also it was announced that Dave Sankey was retiring as flagman. A great career there.
Yeah, good show there, man.
Then we fast forward to the Midwest Truck Series. Nick Van was able to take that one home. That was a pretty good race there. Him, Grant Griesbach, and Brandon Reichenberger all together. Some contact on a late restart there, but what a race.
That was a good race, man. Definitely was a good one. We enjoyed that one.
Big 8 Series capped the night there. Jacob Goede won the race. Randy Sargent was the champion.
Yep. So that was a good show too, man. 48 laps, and hey, isn't it amazing what time they say they're done with the races out there, and it lands right on the time when they say that they're done. It's just amazing. Also, what time is it? Also, it's right on the time that they want to end the races there. They run a good, tight, nice show out at LaCrosse, man.
And I want to reiterate what Jacob Goede said was he got the lead there, but Steve Bachman, it looked like if that race was another 5 laps longer, that would have been very, very interesting because he was coming back to Jacob Goede there at the end.
That 14 car was slicing and dicing, man. It was just enjoyable to just watch him come through, man. But yeah, he got up there to the end, man. Just needed a few more laps to finish it off.
Yeah. On Sunday, then, started with Oktoberfest. Eugene Gregorich III won that one. Nick Van led a bunch. Eugene Gregorich got by him on a late restart there. Brent Kirshner got the motor that they give away. So that's a pretty cool deal with Oktoberfest as they give away that 602 motor. I think Gandrew does that. So thank you to Gandrew for supporting that and doing that. That's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah. You get a brand new motor. How do you like that?
The Upper Midwest Vintage Racing Series also there. How about this name? Nathan Hasley hopped in a car and ended up taking that one home. Boy, was it great to see him again.
That was fun to see. Yeah, there's a name from the past, man. So good to hear that he's doing well and still driving.
I had to I was talking to Jack, who was sitting next to us there, and talking about Nathan Hasley and trying to explain how good of a racer he was back a few years ago. That was cool for me to explain to Jack about Nathan Hasley there. So that was a flashback for a little bit. Hopefully we see him more. That would be quite the honor to see him back in a race car. Then we got the big one, the Oktoberfest 200. Ty Majeski dominated that race. Penn Sauter ended up qualifying on the pole. He took that challenge for 40. It ended up being, at the time he accepted, he didn't know what it was going to be totally. It ended up being $40,000, which means if he wins that race, it's $50,000. He got all the way up to 5th. But again, talking about his Friday night where it looked like he matured right in front of us, and then seeing him handle that car on Sunday with working through the gremlins and the ill handlingness that happens during that race, quite impressive. Penn Sauter had a great weekend as well. But Ty Majeski, can't say much more about him. I mean, he wins the 200, pretty much dominated that race.
You could actually see that he was just on a Sunday cruise, man. That's the way it looked to me. And just like, you know what? Let's see what happens when it's time to put the hammer down. And boy, he went around the outside and did a power move on Ty Fredrickson. A few laps later, Ty Fredrickson, that was one major blow into the turn 3 wall, man. Thankful he walked away. I heard a whole bunch of parts and pieces went flying off into the trees and everything. Boy, he got out, and that team is saying, hey, we'll see you at the Dells. So one tough little kid there, man, that got through that wreck there. But, Ty's fifth Oktoberfest championship, and, hey, Casey Johnson with the 4th Midwest Tour Championship, man. All in one, man. What a package that is.
Incredible. Yeah, and so thankful that Ty was okay. That was hard. That car almost went out of the park. Man, so thankful to see him walk away.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, man, I want to take a step back first off. Hey, when they start this whole thing, they bring all them cars down on the grid there, and all the fans can come down and get autographs.
Yeah.
And I was standing against the wall, and here comes Miss Kitty and backs up to the wall, and the first guy that steps out of the car right there is Rich Bickle, man. I mean, I was the first one to stand right there. Hey, Rich, it looks kind of tough getting in and out of that car, with the headrest and everything like that. And it was sure good to see Rich. And hey, he won that first race. Remember, they ran 2 vintage races, and to see the '99 car out there, and he was over in Victory Circle and got a checkered flag with Miss Kitty. So I just want to give Rich a heads up on that one.
Yeah, so they ran heat races. They ran a couple of heat races before that one feature there. So Rich ended up winning one of those there. It was 2 features over at Marshfield, but it was a couple of heat races there at Oktoberfest before the big one. But yeah, it was cool to see Rich back in that car. I know how much he loves Dick Trickle there, and and all of that. So that was pretty cool to see him hot behind that car again.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to give that one a. Yep, I wanted to say something about that.
No doubt. All right, let's well, hold on here. I always want to continue on. Oktoberfest, we talked about it a little bit before. Fest is best. An awesome event. We got to thank the McCarns family for letting us be a part of that, and everyone involved. It takes a crew to put something like that on, and we are so thankful that everyone is involved in that. It was a lot of fun, like it is every year, and can't wait for it to come up next year. Although not too quick. We still got to race down in the Dells with the following. Then we got all next year to go before we get into Fest. But always look forward to that one.
You know, it was Dan Diker was on the,
Yep.
just like old times. Hey, we miss OJ. You know, I think he's got a broken leg. He had a little incident, so we definitely missed him. Oh my God, how many fans and people and friends and everybody we run into do it. I mean, it's just one
Crazy.
big happy family out there, man. And it's wherever you go, you run into somebody you know, and great to talk to racing and good fan support and everything, man. Yeah, we get a double plus, man, for LaCrosse, man, with the weather and everything. It just was the best it ever was, man.
Yeah, and it's fun to run up with the Nevermans, Sarah G. Gilbert, Henry Neardells, all of that crew over there. You know, Dennis Monday, that crew, hanging out with them for a bunch of the weekend too was a great time. So we got to thank them for having a lot of fun with us as well. All right, man, let's talk some more kind of national racing here. Let's get into the ARCA Menards Series. Brendan Queen won the ARCA race at Kansas a few weeks ago. Gio Ruggiero ran second there. Then this past week, they ran out at Toledo. Max Reeves won that over Brendan Queen. Brendan Queen is the ARCA Menards Series champion.
And we're going to see him move up fast through the ranks, man. We can see the talent with that kid.
No doubt. Yep, he's racing Xfinity already, so we'll see
Yep.
him. A little bit of Formula One over in Azerbaijan. Qualifying was kind of an adventure. A lot of drivers crashing, having issues, red flags. It ended up being Verstappen, Russell, and Sainz, the top three. Piastri crashed out. And then they headed into Singapore this past weekend where George Russell won over Verstappen and Norris there. So that points battle is a little closer now. It's 336 to Piastri. Norris has 314, so that's a 22-point gap. Verstappen closed a little bit. He's at 273, a little further back there. So it's going to be interesting to see the McLaren teammates fight this out till the end.
All right. Yep. Season's winding down then in that series, man.
No doubt. Like everywhere is.
Yep.
All right, let's talk NASCAR then. We got a couple of weekends to talk about. We're going to try to get through this as quick as we can here. Xfinity at Kansas. The big thing that you needed to know is that Jones wins the race over Zilich, Hill, Sammy Smith, Creed, Taylor Gray, Love, Sanchez, Queen, and Thompson. Jones had the fastest lap, 31.915, which equals 169.199 miles per hour. Throughout the race, there was a great save by Honeyman. A couple of slow stops there out of Taylor Gray and Elgire. Sanchez made contact with Bonsior, who hammered the wall, and there was some strategy there. It was a great Xfinity race out at Kansas.
And Jones was my pick, so it was perfect, dude.
We'll gloss over that. The Cup Series, then, boy, Ware hit the wall hard early. Hamlin won the first stage by taking two tires. Bell and Reddick almost collided on pit road. Hamlin would also win stage two. Preece, Nemechek made some contact and spun. Allmendinger barely squeaked by. That would have been big there. Jones was right behind them and had a close call as well. Later in the race, Yaley spun after some contact from Hocevar. Looked like Yaley checked up as Chastain got by him. They wrecked pretty hard going into turn one on the restart after Gregson, Cindric, Logano, Stenhouse, Allmendinger, Austin Dillon, Chastain, Gibbs, Blaney, Busch, Hocevar all involved. This is where Hamlin started saying that he didn't have power steering. So, that would be an uphill battle, and he was leading there. Byron and SVG raced pretty close. That caused some contact with Bowman, who got up into the wall, but there was no caution. And then Busch had a tire come apart where some strategy was taken again. Some took 2, some took 4. They restarted with 9 to go before Hocevar spun. It would go into overtime where Nemechek and Zane Smith made some contact, and Zane Smith rolled the wall before he flipped a few times. Gibbs also got a piece of that, but thankful that Zane Smith was okay.
That was a rim rider, man. He's skating around the corner like that. Yeah, we've seen cars do that years back, but haven't seen that in a while. And yeah, two hard rollovers there, man. Good to see Zane walk away.
Yeah. Wallace and Bell were racing tight. There was some contact. They both kept going. And then Hamlin and Wallace were side by side for the lead. Hamlin ran Wallace up the track and into the wall. Here comes Chase Elliott running the bottom, makes contact with Hamlin, but would go on and win the race. It was Elliott, Hamlin, Bell, Briscoe, Wallace, Larson, Reddick, Keselowski, Byron, and SVG. Hamlin with the fastest lap, 30.278 seconds, which equals 178.347 miles per hour. An awesome finish there at Kansas.
Yeah, the last 10 laps was really downright exciting. You know, the jack man for Hamlin kind of couldn't get underneath the lifting bolt, and it cost him to fall back to sixth position. But that was no big deal. Chase Elliott, when he started on that green white checker, was 10th place. Started outside row 5, and they had an in-car camera watching him go inside, outside, this side, over this side, and then absolutely make contact with Hamlin. And there was no stopping Elliott, man. He was pointing in the right direction, got back to the line just in time.
Yeah, unbelievable there. Then we would go to the Roval this past weekend. Enfinger, starting with the Truck Series. Enfinger makes contact with Riggs and Heim. Riggs and Heim got the worst of it, but were able to continue. Rhodes also wrecked hard short while after, but Honeycutt would win the first stage by staying out. In stage 2, Garcia would spin, but Honeycutt would sweep the stages. Breidinger stalled just after Cruz reported he was run out of fuel as the leader. What a run by Brent Cruz there. It would go over to overtime where Corey Heim would win the race over Cruz, Ruggiero, Carruth, Zilich, Bilicki, Enfinger, Majeski, Ankrum, Mozak. It's Heim's 10th win of the season, which is the most wins in a single season in the Truck Series. Cruz did have the fastest lap. I'm going to regret to tell you this. It's 86.666 seconds, which equals 94.708 miles per hour.
Yeah, you know, even though Heim got into the fence, we've seen people in that turn 1 actually hit that wall and still can be able to perform. And yeah, even with a wrecked vehicle, nobody could stop Heim time once again, man.
That's right. So Heim advances to Phoenix for the championship 4. Ankrum is +2. Hemrick also +2. Cruz +1. Riggs -1. Majeski -2. Enfinger -4. Honeycutt -4. They have the week off before they go into Talladega.
That is some tight points there, dude. You can't get no tighter than that.
You can't. Nope. Xfinity then at the Roval. Zilich would win the first stage. Harrison Burton would stall and can't get off the track. Day would also get into the wall. Alfredo would spin after contact with Dye there as well. Stage 2, Williams would stall. Sanchez would bring the jack out of his box, so there would be a penalty there. Love would win it by staying out. Creed would have a slow stop while fixing some damage and tightening a loose lug.
Here's 2 loose lugs right here, dude.
Later on, Day would spin after contact with Sammy Smith. Sammy would pit with 4 to go to attempt a Hail Mary, and the caution comes as soon as they start work on his car. So he caught a break there. He was right on the cut line. It looked like he was going to miss the next round. But it would be Zilich winning the race over Green, Sammy Smith, Gralla, Mozak, Jeb Burton, Swalich, Allgaier, Sanchez, Eckes, Taylor Gray, Sanchez, Hill, and Harrison Burton were eliminated. Sammy Smith just snuck in when he caught that luck and was able to get up to 3rd. So the points look like this now going in to Las Vegas. It's Zilich +57, Allgaier's up 24, Jones +4, Mayer +2, Love -2, Sammy Smith -7, Quapple -11, Creed -13. Also, I should mention Zilich did have the fastest lap, 86.702, which equals 94.669 miles per hour.
This Connor Zillich, man, is going to be the best thing coming up since Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart. It's unbelievable how this kid's coming through the ranks, man. When he's going to go into the Cup Series, we'll see if he can keep it going.
We thought, Ty Gibbs was another one though. So I don't want.
Yeah,
I think
I
I think
know.
Zilich is the real deal, but I want to pump the brakes on that just a little bit.
Yeah, when you talk about Suarez, you know how he came through, but yeah, we see some guys that get through the Xfinity Series and they can keep it going. Boy, sure looks good from this angle, man.
Yeah, it does. All right, Cup Series then. Kyle Busch got in the wall on lap 1, corner 1. What a season it's been for him.
Get the season over for that dude because it's bad.
It's been bad. Cindric would spin after contact with Haley. SVG would win the stage. Chastain lost a lot of ground for coming out of the pits too wide. He had to back up, otherwise he was going to get into the wall.
That was weird. That was a weird deal. And then the announcer was saying, "Is he going to get his position back?" And they're just like, "There's no way. There was no way." And when they came back from commercial, they explained it that there was no way. He lost all those positions by that mistake.
Hocevar and Cindric would make some contact after Hocevar locked it up. Cindric would spin again, so it was it was a long day for the 2 team. Blaney won the stage by staying out. During the last part of the race here, Austin Dillon and Zane Smith would make some contact. Dillon would go into the tire barriers pretty hard. Chastain was too fast on pit road. He said that he was in the wrong gear, so another mistake on pit road out of Chastain, who was fighting for a spot right on that cutoff there. Chastain would then get into Denny, coming to the checker flag after Denny got by him on the final lap. They would spin and cross the line backwards. Allmendinger did as well just before them, but it would be SVG winning the race over Larson, Bell, Buescher, McDowell, Priest, Suarez, Elliott, Allmendinger, and Reddick.
You see how fast Chastain put that thing in reverse and smoked the tires? He went back. He went backwards, and so did Hamlin. I see they kind of had their arms around each other after the race and had a nice little conversation between them two. So it was good to see a good friendly conversation of door wars at the end there, man.
Yeah. So Reddick, Wallace, Chastain, and Cindric were all eliminated there.
What else could have went wrong for Cindric? Yeah, he should have never got out of bed. It was just just totally terrible for him, man. So unfortunate for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Reddick had the fastest lap, 86.738 seconds or 94.63 miles per hour. The points look like this going into Las Vegas. Hamlin +8, Blaney +6, Larson +4, Byron +4, Bell -4, Elliott -14, Briscoe also -14, and Logano -24 going into Las Vegas, where Joey Logano is the defending winner.
And Logano, you cannot count him out. Even being -24, somehow that they find a way to pull a rabbit out of their hat. So stand by and see what the 22 can pull off here at the end.
No doubt. All right, let's talk some news, make our picks, and then the TV schedule here. Starting with some open wheel stuff. Former Formula One driver and current Alpine WEC driver Mick Schumacher. That's why can I think of his name? Michael Schumacher's son, excuse me. Will do a test for IndyCar for Rahal Letterman Lanigan on the IMS road course on October 13th. So cool for Mick Schumacher to get an opportunity with Rahal Letterman Lanigan.
Hey, that's interesting to go that direction. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Tyler Reif will make his truck series debut at Phoenix in the Nice Motorsports number 41 truck. Tyler Reif, very successful out in the ARCA Menards, the ARCA West series.
Yes, I've heard that name before. So yeah, he gets a shot at Phoenix. Good deal there.
That is a really cool deal for Tyler. I like that deal a lot.
Yeah, with Nice, no problem there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have a fast truck. Yep.
Daniel Hemrick is going to drive the number 11 starting after Kansas for 2 races here. So this past weekend, and then he'll get another opportunity coming up here at Las Vegas.
He's been with that team already, so yeah. See if he can get that team moving in the right direction. Eckes, he went back to the 16 for a race and went back to his old team also. So this is common all of a sudden.
Yep. Chris Rice was promoted to Chief Executive Officer of Colleague Racing. So he was the president. Now he's the CEO.
We know how CEOs and how important they are. Mm-hmm.
Chris Rice is a great mind in the sport. Well deserved for him to become the CEO.
Okay.
NASCAR has fined Carson Hosfar $50,000 for what NASCAR termed as behavioral infraction. He spun the tires after coming to a stop at Kansas as safety workers got to his car. He revved and spun the tires there as he tried to rejoin the field. So safety issue there. So he got docked $50,000.
Okay. That's worth it. You'll remember that next time.
Andy Street will be the crew chief for Kyle Busch for the rest of the year. Randall Burnett will remain with the team for the rest of the year before going to Trackhouse. Remember, he was named the crew chief to Connor Zilic for next year.
Boy, that whole team is in disarray. Even with Childress, I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of movement around coming up this off season there. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Do they go outside of the organization since they've been working within it and it hasn't been working? What do they do? You're right. I think we'll see some movement out of RCR.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to warn everyone. We haven't been talking about lawsuits and court orders for a while. I'm going to get into it just for a quick moment here. NASCAR has asked the court to order a settlement conference mediated by a judge or other judicial officer. 2311 and FRM want to continue using the mediator, which is former NBA Chief Legal Officer Jeffrey Mishkin, who already has presided over mediations and settlement talks in this case. Judge Bell has ordered NASCAR 2311 and Front Row to participate in a settlement conference with the current mediator, Jeffrey Mishkin, on October 21st. So something coming up here in the middle of October. The hearing on motions for the summary judgment and exclude witnesses has been moved to October 23rd. So maybe they come to a settlement before that October 23rd meeting now, with it happening on October 21st. So that is potentially a good sign here to end this, and it's better for the sport if they can just settle. Although I do wonder how the other teams and all that will feel how the settlement works out. I wonder how they'll feel about that.
There's a lot of hands in this whole deal, man, with sponsorship and team owners, and there's a lot going on here, man. And the future of racing could be on the line here. I don't know how far they want to take this, and yeah, a settlement would be the way to go. The more this is going to get dragged out, the uglier it's going to get.
Mm-hmm. Again, I just wonder how the other teams are going to feel with how the settlement works out, if it really betters the teams that were involved in the lawsuit or not. But I know a few, like Brad Keselowski and a few others, said that it would be better for the sport out with a settlement. So we'll just leave it at that and see how it gets going.
Yeah, well, that's all season news.
Another lawsuit, yes, another lawsuit that we haven't talked about for a while is the Let's Go Brandon Foundation in NASCAR. NASCAR won the jury trial in the lawsuit filed against it by the Let's Go Brandon Foundation over whether NASCAR rescinding approval of paint scheme sponsorship cost it money. Jury determined that NASCAR wouldn't have to expect its decision would impact LGB coin holder behavior. So NASCAR has won that. We'll move past that. Okay. Here's the news that I really want to talk about. It was announced today. NASCAR will go from 670 horsepower to 750 horsepower at tracks under a mile and a half and road courses next year. So that would be Bowman Gray, Coda, Phoenix, Darlington, Martinsville, Bristol, Watkins Glen, Dover, Nashville, San Diego, Sonoma, North Wilkesboro, Iowa, Richmond, Loudon, New Hampshire, Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway, the Charlotte Road Course. The change will be done by changing the taper spacer to one with bigger holes allowing more airflow. On Dale Jr.'s podcast, O'Donnell said that going more than 750 horsepower would be a significant cost. It isn't that the tapered spacer is issue. It's with the engine use rules of pretty much at least 2 races per engine that durability of the parts and pieces comes into question with more horsepower. So one of the things that the drivers have been asking for is more horsepower, and we're getting a little bit of that.
Okay, yes, finally. 2 thumbs up on that one, dude. And on the short tracks, man, it can only make racing better.
Yep.
We'll see.
Oh,
We'll see.
Yeah, it's worth a shot. I mean, why not? That's for sure.
Why not?
All right, buddy. It's time for some picks here. So, going into Las Vegas at the Xfinity Series, AJ Allmendinger was the defending winner here. If I can get my spreadsheet to work, I get to go first, and I am going to pick Austin Hill for the second time.
That's a good pick for Vegas. He's had a heck of a year, man. He took all his penalty points away and all that. So, unfortunate. Hey, man, I'm going to take his teammate. How do you like that? I'm going to take Jesse Love, and we'll see what we can do at Vegas against 2 teammates there.
Yeah, that's a good pick too. Going for the Cup Series, then defending winner is Joey Logano. You get to pick first for this one.
I think I like Joey Logano. He just seems to have magic at the second Las Vegas race. We've seen this before. We know it's not an even year this year, because it seems like he wins every even year, but I still think he runs at Vegas, man. I'll throw Logano at you.
I am going to pick the guy who should have won it last year, but remember Joey Logano doing the few mileage ended up working out, so Joey won. I'm going to pick the driver who should have won last year, and that is Christopher Bell, and that will be my last time using Mr. Bell.
He should have won that. It was amazing of how he lost that race. That was an entertaining Las Vegas last year. I remember that one.
It was. All right. TV schedule looks like this then, buddy. Out at Vegas on Saturday at 1 o'clock on the CW app is Xfinity practice and qualifying. 3:30 on True TV is Cup practice and qualifying. 6 o'clock on the CW is pre-race. 6:30 on the CW, the Xfinity race will start stages of 45, 45, and 111. 5 sets of tires out there in the 80s with 20% chance. Sunday then, 4 o'clock on USA is the pre-race. 4:30 on USA, the Cup Series race will get going. Stages of 80, 85, and 102. 9 sets of tires in the 70s with 5% chance out there. So weather looking pretty decent out there in Las Vegas.
Wow, 70s in Vegas, man. At this time of year, it could be well into the 90s. So everybody catches a break out there on the late afternoon run out there.
And we caught a break at Fest with it being in the high 80s. So that was good for us too. When you said that, I was like, man, the weather pattern's kind of weird lately here with us up here and then Vegas up there. So anywho, we'll end this thing, man. We got to thank Jacob Goede again for coming on and joining us. That was awesome. Also got to thank Tim with the Corp Racing and Ben and Kerry with Valley Gasket here. So we appreciate you, everything that you do for us, everything that you do for the communities you're involved in, which we know is a lot. So it's just amazing what you all do. So Mark, thanks to you for doing this as always, for having some fun out at Fest, for the videos, everything. It's greatly appreciated. And everyone else for your support. It means the world to us. So that'll end it. Everyone have a great rest of your week and weekend. Enjoy some racing. Enjoy some fun with family and friends. And hey, we'll talk to you soon.
Yep, I'm paying attention to Winchester this weekend. I'm gonna go back there one of these years, and
Yes.
And then we got another racing weekend after that at Dells and Sun Prairie coming up, and we'll talk about that on the next show next Wednesday. How's that?
Yes, we will. See
All
ya.
right, we'll see you, man. See ya.
This has been a production of Lore Sports. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.